Living in her shadow. My name is Emily. I am 29 years old. I live in a small apartment in the city, on the third floor of an old building. I work at a marketing company downtown. My desk is by the window, and I can see the busy street below when I need a break from my computer screen. My younger sister, Claire, is 26. She works as a lawyer at a big firm. She married her college boyfriend, Mark, 2 years ago. They bought a house with a garden last spring. Claire always seemed to know exactly what she wanted in life, even when we were kids. My mother, Linda, lives an hour away. She calls me every Sunday to check in. My best friend, Jess, lives in the same city as me. We met at university and have been close ever since. Jess works at a small bookstore and loves her simple, quiet life. My apartment was small, but I had made it comfortable over the years. I had a soft green couch from a second-hand shop and a small bookshelf filled with novels I had read twice. On weekends, I liked to walk to the farmer's market near my building, buying fresh bread and flowers for my kitchen table. Jess often came with me, and we would stop for coffee afterward, talking about nothing important for hours. Claire's life, from what I could see, looked very different. Her house had a real garden with rose bushes Mark planted himself. Her kitchen had a marble counter that always looked clean in her photos. When we were kids, Claire knew she wanted to study law by the time she was 14. I changed my mind about my career 4 different times before settling into marketing. Every few weeks, our family gets together for dinner. Claire always brings something new to talk about, a promotion, a trip to Italy, new furniture for the house. I usually just listen and smile. I tell small stories about my work, but they never feel as exciting as Claire's news. From the outside, my life looked fine. I had a steady job, good friends, and a family who loved me. I went to work every morning, I came home every evening. Nothing seemed broken. But quietly, inside my own heart, something kept growing heavier every time I saw my sister's life next to mine. One evening, after a family dinner, Claire showed everyone pictures from her trip to Italy on her phone. My mother smiled at every picture. My father laughed at Claire's stories about getting lost in Rome. I smiled too, but inside, a quiet voice started talking in my head. Why does her life always look so perfect? Why am I always behind? I drove home that night feeling tired in a strange way, like something heavy was sitting on my chest. I did not tell anyone how I felt. I just went to bed early and stared at the ceiling for a long time. The next day, Jess called me to see a movie together. "You seem quiet today," Jess said as we walked to the theater. "Everything okay?" "Just a long week," I said. "Claire's trip to Italy looked amazing, that's all." "You went quiet during dinner last night," Jess said. "Is something bothering you?" "I'm fine," I said. "I'm happy for her." But I was not fully happy. Part of me was happy for Claire, and part of me felt small next to her. I felt like I was always comparing my life to hers, even when I didn't want to. I kept these feelings hidden, even from Jess, because I felt ashamed to admit I was jealous of my own sister. Over the next few weeks, the feeling grew stronger. Every time Claire posted a photo online, a new trip, a new dinner with Mark, a work award, I felt that same heavy feeling in my chest. I started checking her photos late at night, even when I told myself not to. I would lie in bed, scrolling through pictures of her garden, her vacations, her smiling coworkers, and each photo felt like a small weight added to the pile already sitting on me. At work, my coworker Mark, who sat near my desk, noticed I seemed distracted. He was a cheerful guy who always brought donuts on Fridays. "You've been quiet lately," Mark said one afternoon, leaning against my desk. "Everything all right?" "Just tired," I said. "Lots going on." "You're sure?" Mark asked. "You used to laugh at my bad jokes. Now you barely smile." "Sorry," I said. "I'll try to laugh more." I gave a small smile, but it did not reach my eyes. "You don't have to apologize," Mark said gently. "Just checking on you." At home, I stopped calling Claire as much as I used to. When she called me, I sometimes let it go to voicemail, telling myself I would call back later, then forgetting on purpose. One Sunday, my mother noticed. "You haven't talked to your sister in 2 weeks," Linda said on the phone. "Did something happen between you two?" "No, Mom," I said. "I've just been busy." "You sound far away lately. Is everything okay with you, Emily?" "I'm fine," I said, even though my voice felt tight. Jess tried to talk to me again one evening over coffee at our favorite small cafe on the corner. "You always change the subject when Claire comes up," Jess said, stirring her cup slowly. "I think you're comparing yourself to her too much." "Maybe," I said quietly. "I just feel like I'm always behind, like nothing I do is enough." "You have a good job, a nice place, people who care about you. Why does it feel like that's not enough?" "I don't know," I said, looking down at my coffee. "It just never feels like enough next to her." It was the first time I said those words out loud, even a little, but I still did not say everything I was feeling. A month later, Claire called to invite me to a small celebration. She had just been made partner at her law firm. My mother was already planning a special dinner. When I arrived at Claire's house, the table was full of food, flowers, and Claire's smiling coworkers. The garden lights were on, and music played softly from a speaker on the porch. Claire pulled me aside in the kitchen, holding 2 glasses of lemonade. The kitchen smelled like roasted chicken and fresh bread. "I'm so glad you came," Claire said. "It means a lot to me." I tried to smile, but something inside me cracked instead. "Congratulations," I said, my voice shaking a little. "You always get everything you want." Claire's smile faded. "What do you mean by that?" she asked. "You have the perfect job, the perfect house, the perfect husband," I said, the words coming out faster than I wanted. "I feel like I'm always behind you, like I'm never enough." Claire put down the glasses on the counter, her hands still resting near them. "Emily, I didn't know you felt this way," she said softly. "I didn't want you to know." I felt ashamed. "You're my sister, and I'm jealous of you. What kind of person feels that way?" "A normal person," Claire said. "Emily, my life isn't as perfect as you think. I work 60 hours a week. Mark and I argue about money all the time. I just don't post that part online." "You always seem so sure of everything. I never feel sure of anything." "I'm not sure of everything. I just learned to look confident, even when I'm not. Maybe that made things worse, not better." I stood there, breathing hard, feeling both relief and shame at the same time. "I just feel like I'm always comparing myself to you, and I always lose." "This isn't a competition," Claire said, her eyes filling with tears now too. "I love you, Emily. I don't want a perfect life if it means losing my sister." That moment, standing in her kitchen, everything I had hidden for months finally came into the light. After the party, Claire and I sat outside on her porch steps for a long time. The night air felt cool and quiet around us, and the music from inside had turned soft and faint. "I'm sorry I pulled away from you," I said. "I should have told you how I felt instead of hiding it." "I wish you had told me sooner," Claire said. "I felt you getting distant, but I didn't know why. I thought maybe I did something wrong." "I felt like comparing myself to you was something shameful," I said. like admitting it made me a bad sister. It doesn't make you a bad sister, Claire said. It makes you human. I compare myself to other people too. I just never told you that part. There's a lawyer at my firm who makes partner look effortless, and some nights I drive home feeling exactly like you described tonight. That surprised me. You feel that way too? I asked. More than you'd think, Claire said. I just learned to hide it better, which isn't really better at all. I called Jess the next day and told her everything. I'm glad you finally said it, Jess said. You don't have to carry feelings like that alone, Emily. I know, I said. I think I was scared that if I said it out loud, it would become more real. Feelings are already real, whether you say them or not. Saying them just means you stop carrying them by yourself. I also talked to my mother that weekend, sitting at her kitchen table where we had eaten breakfast together my whole childhood. You girls are so different, Linda said, but I never compare you. I just want you both happy in your own way. I think I forgot that, I said. I was too busy measuring my life against Claire's. You were always the one who noticed small things, Emily. The flowers on the table, the quiet moments. That matters too, Emily, even if it doesn't make headlines. That weekend, I made an honest decision. I decided to stop hiding my feelings and start being truthful, even when it felt uncomfortable. I decided to build my own life instead of constantly measuring it against my sister's. Looking back now, I understand something important. For a long time, I measured my life only by comparing it to my sister's life. I looked at her job, her house, her marriage, and I felt like I was always behind, always not enough. But I was only seeing the surface of her life, not the real struggles underneath it. I saw the photos, never the long hours or the quiet worries hiding behind them. The real problem was never Claire. The real problem was the constant comparing inside my own mind. Every time I looked at her success and called myself behind, I was choosing to measure my whole life by someone else's path, instead of building my own. I was looking at her highlight reel and comparing it to my behind-the-scenes footage, and of course, mine always seemed to lose. I learned that comparing yourself to others will almost always make you feel like you are not enough, because you're comparing your whole story to someone else's highlight reel. Claire has her own fears, her own hard days, her own quiet struggles, just like I do. We are simply walking different paths, not a race with a winner and a loser. Once I understood that, the heavy feeling in my chest finally began to lift. If you often compare your life to someone else's, I want to tell you something I wish I had understood sooner. Your path does not need to look like anyone else's path to be valuable. Slow progress is still progress. A small apartment filled with things you love is still enough. A quiet life lived honestly is still a full life. The version of success that fits someone else may never fit you, and that is all right. Today, when Claire shares her good news, I feel real joy for her, not the old heavy feeling in my chest. And when I share my own small joys, like a crooked pottery bowl or a quiet Sunday, I no longer feel like they need to compete with anyone else's life. I have learned that my own path is enough simply because it is mine.